Well, hello and welcome to another edition of the San Juan County CEO Spotlight. I'm Kim Carpenter, the County Executive Officer, and with me my guest today, J Beckstead, Commissioner of District 5. John is newly elected to the position, replacing Keith Johns, and John, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
You know, I think it's always important for people to get to know their elected officials and what they're about, and you know, you've got a long-standing life here in San Juan County. Tell us about yourself, John.
So I was born and raised here in the county, raised in Kirtland, New Mexico, and actually have deep roots in the county. My great-grandfather came in the late 1800s. When he was 8 years old, he walked to the county, and his father saw something promising in the lower valley and decided to make it home. And he was raised here, and subsequently, a few generations later, I was born and was raised here in the valley as well, in the county.
You know, it's interesting because we've talked, and the family very deeply committed in serving people, even your great-grandfather. Talking about you following the footsteps of your great-granddad with regard to him being a county commissioner way back when.
Absolutely. It was interesting to discover. I was reading about my great-grandfather and found out that he was a commissioner in 1935 and 36. And it's funny how history tends to repeat itself sometimes. And you know, it's an honor to serve as a county commissioner, knowing that that my great-grandfather did as well. Another interesting fact about him is he started General Supply, the feed store, back in 1931, and it was a long staple in San Juan County, and actually still is. It's been purchased from our family, and it's out in Kirtland currently.
Oh, that's great. And you've seen, you know, Kirtland is a very changing environment right now. We've seen a lot of growth in terms of what's happening. Of course, you're in District 5 in that area, and just talk about the changes that you've seen over the years just in the area of Kirtland. It's now its own township, something that's relatively new, just a couple years old, and in fact, it's the newest incorporated area in the state of New Mexico.
Absolutely. You know, it's a process that actually they attempted to do back in the 70s. My father was a part of that, and it unfortunately didn't pass back then. I think it's good for the people of Kirtland. Right now the boundaries are pretty small, fairly select where the boundaries currently are, but they're open to growth of the township, and you know, as the citizens want that, they will expand. But they want to leave that up to the people. They don't want to go out and start annexing residences. They want the individual people to want to be included in the township and to go from there.
Now in District 5, what areas throughout San Juan County do you cover in terms of the district you were elected in?
So my district covers Kirtland and Fruitland south of Highway 64. It then proceeds east and north up La Plata Highway, so the La Plata Highway all the way up to the border. It also includes the southwest portion of Farmington, roughly south of 20th and west of Browning Parkway, everything south and west of those major streets.
You know, I'm just curious, I often ask people this, but why run for public office? What inspired you to want to do this?
Well, you know, I have a strong desire to serve my community, and I've noticed that, and this is no knock on Jack Fortner, but a lot of our people that are elected officials are of a generation before me. And it was the opportunity for someone from my generation to step up and to serve our community.
Any knock on our chairman, Jack Fortner, is okay.
All right.
No, and you know, John, what do you see as the challenges for San Juan County in terms of you know what we're experiencing right now, and what do you see as a new person coming in that concerns you, if you will?
Well, obviously the budget is going to be a major issue moving forward, and just the economic environment right now with oil and gas, we've seen a decline, and unfortunately there's certain policies that are in place that aren't very friendly towards our oil and gas industry, and San Juan County depends on that. And because of that, and because of other budgetary issues, especially with the state sending down unfunded mandates, we're going to be in a bad position, and hopefully we can find some resolutions to that.
You know, it's important that you bring it up, because a lot of the pressures that San Juan County is feeling today, obviously, are those very issues of the state coming after funds and reserve funds and things like that to create solvency. And you're right, it's something that is really dynamic right now that's putting a lot of pressure on local governments abroad, not just San Juan County, but you know, you also look at what we do in terms of the oil and gas industry that you referred to, and just how powerful it is, and what funds it does create to provide a lot of opportunity for education and things like that. But you've also got, you know, another challenge, I think, that is in the back of our minds, obviously, is the power industry, and some of our largest property taxpayers in San Juan County, the power plants and their shareholders. How does that concern you with what the recent P&M situation is?
Well, it's disappointing to learn that P&M thinks it might not be economically feasible to continue to operate in San Juan County. I don't know what the answers are there. I think the county needs to sit down with them to find out truly what those triggers are, and to see if there's anything that the county can do to alleviate some of those issues so that it could potentially be economically feasible to stay. I don't think we should give up on P&M, because if we do, they're surely to go. As a commissioner, I want to fight to keep them here.
I think it's very important that they've been such a long staple in this community, and you're talking hundreds of jobs, and so we definitely want to be good stewards and good neighbors, and try to find a way where we can all work together. There's no question. You know, one last question I've got for you. What do you want to see in the next coming years, next 5 years of what's your desire, or let's just back up, and what would you like to see, you know, during your first term? I know you had a big project that you just attended with the senior center. Talk about it.
So we recently just completed a project at the Lower Valley Senior Center, where they remodeled it's in an old church building, and they remodeled it into a modern functional facility that our seniors desperately need. Each day that senior center serves, I think, 60 people meals, and some of those people, that's their only meal that they have for the day. And it's one of those services we need to look out for our elderly, and we need to look out for our youth, and those are two things that are very near and dear to my heart.
What do you want to see in terms of your first term? What would you like to accomplish in your first term?
Well, you know, I had these grandiose ideas, but really I just want to survive the budget.
Right.
Unfortunately, it looks like we're either going to have to cut services or raise taxes, and I don't want to do either of those.
Yeah.
So we're going to need to come up with some unique ways to get through our budget. And you know, I told some people They said, what are you going to do for San Juan County? What are you going to implement? What are you going to do? And I said, hopefully as little as possible. Yeah. And they kind of gave me a stunned look, like, you want this job, but you want to do as little as possible. And that's kind of because I like to be conservative in nature. And the more things that we pass, the more things that we do, it just means more taxes. And that's not what I'm about. So when I say I want to do as little as possible, it's because I want to, I don't want to become bigger. I want to maintain where we're at and not expand the county government.
Well, and you know, those are points well said, because you have entered into a term that we need stability. We need, you know, to continue to evaluate, and we've been going through those challenges for several years in terms of the budget, and so I think there's a lot of practical minded sensitivity that you have with regard to what you're saying. And I just want to tell you, just in the few months that we've worked together, I've really appreciated you know, your disposition on issues, and I look forward to working with you. And I also, as we close today, want to thank you for taking the time to let people get to know you, and this is, I think, very important for the citizens of San Juan County to be able to get to know their elected. So thanks for being with us.
Very well, thanks for having me.
Thanks, John. Well, that's going to wrap up here the CEO Spotlight. Again, my guest, J Beckstead, Commissioner, newly elected Commissioner of District 5. We look forward to bringing you more CEO Spotlights in the future. Thanks for listening, and have a great day.